Now, with that said, they got super lucky in the playoffs because every team they faced was injured, until they ran into Boston, who just trounced them. But I think that they have an incredible young core. Benedict Mathurin is super underrated. Nemhard held it down in the postseason too. Like he showed that like he's a great floor general. Like next to Halliburton, they might have the best floor generals in the NBA.
And you know what, Doc? I don't think this is a hot take. He was like, I think he was a free agent this past season. I was hoping, folks at home know that we're Utah Jazz fans. I was hoping the Jazz would just give him a significant amount of money just to get him to come over. I think he's that good. I think you should try and look at who's the guy that went to New York from Dallas who became like a superstar.
Jalen Brunson.
He's not as good as Jalen Brunson, but it's like who are New York Brunsons each year?
He's not even in the same stratosphere as Jalen Brunson,
dude. But
Jalen Brunson is the literal for guys like New York City right now. Dude, pay your respects, JD.
He was the king, but he wasn't the king until he moved over. Until he saw significant time outside of Dallas. I thought Dallas was very goofy not giving him a good amount of money. And I think Nemhard should have got a significant amount of money. I think he proved it. He was amazing in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And that's why he got the bag from Indiana. Dallas knows they fumbled the ball on Jalen Brunson.
He didn't get the bag. He didn't get the bag from Indiana. He got like 14 or 15 mil or something.
That's pretty good as a backup point guard. That's pretty good.
He should be starting. He's
not going to start next to Tyrese Halliburton.
I know. That's why the Jazz should have got him. They could have told him, "You'll be the starter," and
the Jazz wanted to focus all of their money into Lauri Markkanen, and that was the right decision. That's what they should have done with their money. They should have made sure that there was no.
I think you might have cut out, Doc.
Oh, I said that's exactly what the Jazz should have done. Was they took their cap space and they used it to lock up Lauri Markkanen, who is a coveted asset because you can plug him into any team, and he is going to make you a championship contender. If you're not, if you're competitive already. I mean, look at Porzingis. Porzingis pushed Boston over the edge. Like Lauri Markkanen is that kind of player too. So I think the Jazz did the right thing in locking him up long term. But Nemhard would have been great to have on the. Oh my gosh, that would have been amazing.
Just wait. I think this guy is gonna. If he had the time and the resources, he could be intense. But since we're talking about the Jazz, why don't we just move on to them? Why don't you tell us who's on that roster and where do you think they should be?
This hurts. Because the Jazz are average at best. Cody Williams, Kyle Filipowski, Isaiah Collier, Keontae George, Walker Kessler. I'm missing someone. Bryce Sensabaugh. I think that's all 7 of our boys, right? If we're going to hit, we're probably going to hit on 2 of them. If we're lucky, we'll hit on 3 of the 6. I think Kessler has already established himself as one of the best defensive centers in the league. He's not a guy I'm worried about. But if we're talking young core moving forward, we don't really have any guys that are jumping off the page yet. Now, Keontae, I am fully expecting him to come out this season like a bat out of hell. I think he's going to have a giant leap. Taylor Hendricks, I need to see some of that confidence. I need him to be confident on the floor. I need him to play his size. I don't want him playing like he's 6'1". I want to see him playing like a 6'9" defensive menace, like what we know he could potentially be. I think Cody Williams is going to be a really just sneaky good player. I think Filipowski has a lot of good skills that you don't normally see in big men. But if we're, like I said, if we're lucky, we'll hit 3 of the 6. But we're just average at the moment. We don't have like a Cooper Flag. We don't have a Victor Wembanyama. We don't have an Amen Thompson. We don't have a Scoot Henderson. We don't have these guys. JD, Media Day has just wrapped up, and the Utah Jazz have decided to finally pick a direction, and they are going to develop their young youth. Now, Justin Zanuck, I think, really didn't sugarcoat this, and I love that. I love the brutal honesty, but he straight up told our fan base, we're not going to hit 6 out of 6. And he's right. There's like no way that all 6 of these guys become something. So now that we are heading in this direction, are you happy with that direction? And who do you think are going to be the 3 that really break out of the 6 new guys who are 20 or younger?
Am I happy with the direction that we're going? I think that this is really the only direction that we can go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna have, as bad as this sounds, like you need to set expectations for this upcoming season because I think we're just gonna be bad. We do say that every season, right? We think we're gonna be bad and then we end up 500 by All-Star break, but I really do think that this season Will Hardy's not gonna have any magic to make us good. Like we've got so many young guys, like you've been saying, Doc,
Mm-hmm.
and I am happy about it because I think it's the only option that we can really do to push us towards that direction. As we kind of showed earlier, we were doing that tier list. We don't really have a true guy that I think is going to become a superstar player. Like we
Right.
don't
We
have
don't have
any
a
Anthony
franchise
Edwards. We don't have
besides
Jalen
Lowry.
Williams. We don't have Wim. Yeah, I mean, we have Lowry, but like, I don't think we really have any guys that could be a top 10 talent. I think if you pair a Cooper Flag with a Larry
Mm-hmm.
Markkinen, and then you
Agree with that.
guys make it
And
to
that's
the Western
painful to say.
Conference Finals, you can really turn into something. So I think we need to build through the draft. And I don't know if we're going to get Cooper Flag. Like if we're the worst team in the NBA, we have a 14% chance to get Cooper Flag. But
14 is
there are
better than 10, though.
there are 5 guys, Doc, in this upcoming draft that I really like, that I think that any of those guys could be very beneficial to the Jazz young core. There's a guy in particular I really like, VJ Edgecombe. I think that guy has potential to become the next Anthony Edwards, even though Anthony Edwards is still this young guy and everything. But he shows that talent. He's athletic. He's incredible. I would really like to get him. We've heard Ace Bailey, obviously, Nolan Traore, and Dylan Harper. He recently had a scrimmage. So yes, I like the direction to answer your question. As long as we can get one of those young core pieces, and I don't want to keep getting young guys, Doc. Like we've got, like you said, hopefully we land 3 of these 6 guys will be core pieces, guys who can be
That would be
rotational pieces
ideal.
for a contender.
If we landed 3 of 6, that would be incredible.
Yeah,
incredible.
And I think it's unlikely. I think Cody Williams has the most potential to tap out of there, and Filipowski looks decent. Collier, I was happy with. Like I'm happy with the 3 guys, but if you remember, Doc, when they were initially talking about the draft, the management team for the Jazz, they were saying that they didn't want to get 3 guys because they already have so many young guys, but like landed in our favor. This upcoming season, Doc, we have 3 more picks. Where are we supposed to put those? We can't have like 10 guys all under the age of 20. It wouldn't work, and it would be bad for the culture. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes and no. Yes, because like if you had 10 guys under the age of 20, you're gonna have issues. But like half these guys aren't gonna pan out. Like half of them aren't gonna pan out. And during media day, once again, Zanuck said it the best: pups can't raise pups. That's why they picked up Patty Mills. That's why they grabbed Eubanks as well. So, and we have Larry Markkinen, who invited Keontae George to come train with him in Finland. So, the best part about Lowry too is like he's embracing that role as the leader of this team. And, I love that. I love that about him. And he wants to be here and he knows the direction that we're headed. Like the Jazz tried to go big game hunting. It didn't work for them. They tried to pivot in a lot of different directions to make win now moves, and it wasn't on the table for us at all. They're an aggressive organization. They really are in terms of trying to get stuff done. So I think that this is like, I bet Cody, I really have a good feeling about Cody Williams, man. I do too. I think Williams I really like George. I really think George is going to take a massive leap this year. I think we're going to see the rookie version of Walker Kessler again. I think he's going to be invigorated, barring injury. I think he's going to have a really good season. The guys I'm worried about are Isaiah Collier. I'm worried about Kyle Filipowski a little bit. I'm worried about Bryce Sensabaugh, even though he seems to be able to get his buckets just fine. Taylor Hendricks is the guy who I think is under the most pressure. As the ninth pick, and we just sent him to the G League last year. I don't know. We'll have to see. He has the most pressure, though, for sure.
You see, I would say Kessler, because Kessler's coming into his third year. He had a little bit of that, people say he has the sophomore slump, but he was still one of the leaders in blocks. But they do say that because
exactly.
I really do feel like he had such a great rookie year, but this past season, he just didn't really show anything offensively, and I really hope he can change that. This first preseason game with against the Breakers, who obviously the Jazz are going to win, but he looks like he wasn't doing too well against their centers. Like, he had a block, which was nice. He had 8 points, 9 rebounds, a couple assists, which was nice to see. But he just doesn't really have an offensive game outside of lobbing. And if it stays that way, is he really the core center for a team? I don't know.
I think that how he anchors this team defensively, he's the safest bet out of all the young guys, because he's a guy who I think is going to have like a 10, and 3 block year this year. He might even have a better year. He might put up 12, 10, and 3, but he's going to get more than 2.4 blocks. He was getting that coming off the bench. If we start him, he could potentially lead the league in blocks. From that alone, that makes me very comfortable with him. He'll probably never be some all-star or anything like that, he'll never be the second or third option on this team. But I'll tell you what, when people drive on Walker Kessler, they think twice about it because they know what that man can do.
Thank you for watching another episode of the Full Court Press NBA podcast. For the full podcast, click the link below and subscribe for more hoops content.